Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Serrano, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at the CUBOT X30, and we're also going to be comparing it to the Samsung Galaxy A12.
C. Butler.
But if it's your very first time to the channel, I truly appreciate you for coming through. But if you're new, but if you're already a part of the crew, salute. Now, when it comes to both of these budget devices, we do have some similarities and we also do have some differences, but mostly they're going to be very similar when it comes to the money that you're going to be spending, but there are some differences that I do want to make sure that you guys know. So on the first thing that we're going to be taking a look at is this side of this phones, and they're both going to be able to show you that there is a volume rocker on the CUBOT X50 and a slot for your expansion of your storage. I don't know if you can see that, but it's like right here. And then on the A12, it's going to be right there as well. So it's going to be on the same spot on that side as well. So on the bottom, we are getting a headphone jack for the A12. We also are getting Type-C microphone, and the same thing for the CUBOT, except we don't have the headphone jack on the bottom right there. We do get your volume rocker on that side, like I said, but on this side we have a power button and a fingerprint sensor separated. And then on the A12 we also do have a fingerprint right here, which, because combined, is the power button and volume rockers. So let me just put these on at the same exact time. But at the top we're gonna have your microphone on the microphone on the A12, and just the light sensor on the top of the CUBOT X30. So let's just power these on at the same time and see which one comes on first. So I pressed the buttons at the same time, but let's just see which device will come on first. And we're going to take a look at these two devices and compare them and see which one is a better fit. So let's just go ahead and just, wait to see which one comes on. Looks like the CUBOT did come on first, so that was pretty surprising. Let's go ahead into the pattern or pin. And the screen is already on, and we're waiting for the Samsung. So one thing to note is that we will get 8 gigabytes of RAM on the CUBOT. On the Samsung, we will get 4 gigabytes of RAM coupled with 64 gigabytes of internal storage. So this version of the CUBOT actually has 128 gigabytes of internal storage, whereas this Samsung has 64. So let me just enter my pattern or pin. And as far as the processing chips, it's going to be the P60 versus the P35. So in this scenario, I would definitely go with the P60 on the CUBOT, but they're both going to be really nice, and I'll just tell you why in just a second. U-drop notch down on the top for the A12 right here, which is not too bad. We also do get a punch hole notch on the left hand corner of the CUBOT X50, right? So really good. When you put them down, you can see that the CUBOT is still as bright as it was before I put it down. So you can see I have the A12 right here at full brightness, and I'm turning off like any dark modes I see or something, but let me just make sure. Yeah, so the viewing angles for the A12 aren't going to be that good when it comes to the overall viewing angles. When you put it down, you're going to notice it gets kind of dark, but the X50 still stays bright no matter what angle you throw at it. So I just want to make sure you guys know that, because on the CUBOT, it's going to give you a more vivid display, right? It's going to give you it's going to give you that really sharp display with 1080 by 2310, 398 for the PPI. It's going to be a high density display. Whereas on the A12, we're going to pretty much be getting the normal display, which is going to be like a standard 720 by 1560 display, HD plus 264 for the PPI, medium density display. So when you tilt it towards you, it will get bright, but when it's not tilted towards you, it will give you bright. So that's pretty much the difference with both of these displays. Now I believe the CUBOT has 15 watts fast charging, and so does the A12. So the only difference is that the A12 will have a 5,000 milliamp hour battery, whereas the CUBOT will have a 4,200 milliamp hour battery. So that's pretty much the difference when it comes to the battery cells. So you're going to get much better battery life on the A12. On a full day, you'll probably get more than 2 days on the A12, whereas the CUBOT X30, you will probably get about a day, maybe, but just if you're lucky, you'll get a little bit more than a day on that guy. Now, the 8GB of RAM definitely helps for the CUBOT. It's definitely going to make it feel more snappy and quick, just more responsive with the P60, and the 1080 display just looks a lot more better when you compare it to the P35. But you can see right here when you're scrolling, you can kind of get a better idea of how both look when they're scrolling, and you can kind of see it's just more quicker. I'm trying to do it the same pace on the A12, and the CUBOT X30 is just a lot, I don't know, they're both having the moments right here, but you can see what I mean. But let me know which one you think has better scrolling speeds. Now for the main camera on the CUBOT X30, we are getting a Samsung camera, 48 megapixel, 55K GM1 ISO cell camera. And for the main camera on the A12, we're getting a 48 megapixel Samsung S5. It's going to be a S5K GM2. So just slightly upgraded on the A12 with the ISO cell as well. So they put the M2 in here, but they're using the M1 Samsung camera on this guy, so just slightly updated. But you do get dark mode on the X30. I just used my notification light as my flash, so that would suck if someone was across from me and they thought I took a picture of them or something like that. But the secondary camera, we're getting a wide angle camera, is a 5 megapixel on the A12 with a 2 megapixel portrait, and you also do get another macro lens on this, or a telephoto lens on this guy. So just really solid. You get the main camera, the wide angle, the portrait, and then the macro, the telephoto or whatever. And then on this guy, the CUBOT, we're getting the 16 megapixel wide angle with the 5 megapixel macro and the 2 megapixel for portraits as well. So they're gonna be pretty sweet when you're like comparing them. Let me just take a picture of my face on both of these so you can kind of see the front facing camera, because we do get a 32 megapixel camera on the CUBOT, and then on the Samsung they're giving us the 8 megapixel on the front. So I just kind of want to compare them to see like which one was better or whatever. I just moved that in there by accident. So let's see, let's go to the camera app real quick. And I'm gonna flip the cameras around to portrait. And let's just see what it does when I take a picture of my face on both of these. Alright, so let's see how that picture came out on the front, right? And you can definitely see that the CUBOT has some really good colors there with the M1. Well, the M1's on the rear. They're using a different camera on the front, but better color range on the CUBOT, but it's slightly kind of bleeding off on my face with the pink right there, where you can see more natural colors on the Samsung right here. So more natural colors on the Samsung, and just like more saturated on the CUBOT. So let's see what happens when we turn it around to the 48 megapixel camera and take a picture of this guy on a portrait. And I have to go to bokeh on this one to do that. So let me go to the photo right here. And it's timed, so I moved midway through the picture. But those are very comparable, you can see. Very good detail on both. So, you know, those are they're doing a really good job. They're very comparable when it comes to the camera. So basically, when it comes down to it, the software is going to be more updated on the Samsung Galaxy A12, but the CUBOT X30 still has some good software with the Android 10. Well, this is the A11, I'm sorry. This is the A12 will have Android 11. This one will have Android 10 with no real sight of updates in the future for the CUBOT X30, so that's the only downside, but it has a really good hardware still, and it performs, you know, has some better performance and a better display than the Samsung. The Samsung has a slightly, it says a 1 inch bigger 6.5 compared to 6.4, but 1080 you're getting on here versus the 720 with 398 pixels per inch versus the 264 on this one. So when it comes down to it, you're going to get a better battery life on the Samsung and more updates with this guy right here. And so that's the reason why it's going to be slightly better, because it's going to be slightly going to be improved better year after year with the Dolby Atmos on here. A lot of cool features that we're getting on here as well, in addition to the telephoto lens on this camera and stuff like that. But some really cool additional features on here. And then the CUBOT will just have like a really sweet hardware, side-mounted fingerprint, facial recognition, the punch hole, the beautiful display, and really good performance as well, and good cameras. But let me know what you guys think is a better device in the budget price point, and I'll check you guys later. Make sure to answer any one of your questions in the comment section down below. Later. Cool, peace.